All right, so in this video, we're going to go over the basics of copying. So first, we're going to go to our copy screen. And I'm going to go over this in order of most used and least complex to least used and most complex settings. So for the most part, you just set your paper into the top of the machine where that ADF is. You align the guides next to the paper, and then it should automatically know what size paper you're using and print to the appropriate tray. If it doesn't know what size paper you're using, you can always click on this paper select button right here and then manually select which tray you want to print to. For the most part, auto select does a pretty good job of choosing the correct size of paper, but you can also go to this original setting here, and where it says original size, you can change it from auto to, one of these regular sizes here, or you can set a custom size. Probably won't ever need to do that unless you're trying to copy like ID cards and that kind of stuff. And there is an app for that to kind of help things out, make it a little bit quicker. There's also this mixed sizes button, which I think is unique to this machine. For the most part, I don't think you have that option elsewhere, because this one has like a special ADF on it that makes it go a little bit quicker. But I think on most machines you don't use that. You can also click on this batch button, so you can copy multiple different sizes at once or multiple different settings at once, and it all copies out at the same time whenever you'll have like an option to click on like finish scan, and then they'll all come out at the same time. I don't really use it for this. I use it for the scanner because then it separates the files, but just like the way that the copying function works is that it queues up each document consecutively anyways, so you don't really need that very much. So yeah, for the most part, you set the guides, you set the number by either clicking on this button here or pressing on the quantity button and typing it in manually, and then you just press start. Your color options here, auto color select will detect if there's color in the page. If there is, it'll print it using color toner, and if there's not, it'll print it using only the black toner. So that is pretty nice, because if you have a mix between like color pages and non-color pages, you aren't wasting a whole bunch of color toner that way. Full color prints everything as color anyways, so sometimes you can have it look a little bit nicer. Like, I think that the black from full color is a little bit deeper personally, or it has a little bit better coverage, but for the most part, I don't think anyone needs it or uses it. This copy ratio right here is just pretty much zoom and enlarge. So what I normally like to do is I like to say fit to paper size, and then I will select which tray I want to print to, and then for the original setting down here, I'll manually set the size of the paper. You can leave it on auto if you want, as long as it's like a normal paper size, but usually if you're zooming or if you're shrinking or enlarging something, usually the original is kind of a weird size that you're just trying to get to fit on normal paper, so that's why I say that. But if it does detect it properly, then you don't need to worry about that. You have most of your one-sided and combined settings down here. If you do need to do like posters or sheets where you have more than just 2 pages on one paper, you go down to this two-sided combined tab, you'll have your poster option here. There's also this option for booklet copy, which is pretty much the same thing as your normal two-sided combine options. There's a lot of the same. There's quite a few different ways to do the same thing here. Let me just get out of this real quick. Your series, same thing. Just two-sided or one-sided. So yeah, for the most part, everything that you need is going to be right down here. If you do have a stapler, you can open up this finishing thing and you'll have your staple options or your punch options. If you have a folding unit, you'll also have your fold options, or if you have like a booklet finisher, you'll have the option to make booklets, that kind of stuff. But either way, all of that stuff is going to be in finishing. I think some of the simple things will show up on the home screen if you have those options installed. But besides like the very basic functions, it'll all show up here. This sort, what it does, I always like to turn this on by default anyways, just so that like whenever you copy something, it'll go 1 2 1 2 instead of just be like 1 1 2 2 3 3. It just makes it a lot nicer because you don't have to go through it when you're done. Speaking of defaults, if you do want to save your defaults, you can click on this little gear icon down here. Set current settings as default. So I'm not going to do it because I don't want to keep those defaults, but that's how you would. And then if you want to save it as like a preset, I guess, you can click on this set current settings to program. And then what this does is you can name it. So I'm just going to say test right here. And then that preset with all of your defaults will be put on the home screen. And then whenever you need to print that same type of thing again, you can just click on that. And then it'll open up the copy screen with all those same settings in there. So it's pretty nice. You also have this edit/color tab. I've never seen anyone use this, but it exists. I'll go through that in a second and tell you what everything does, but it's really not very important. You do have this density option to kind of, it's basically a contrast slider. For the most part though, if you're needing to use it, there is probably something wrong with the machine. It's probably out of developer or something like that. And you'll have to call us or, you know, whoever services them. And then under the original types here, you do have a couple more options. So you have photo. If you're doing something really glossy, sometimes it can help cut down on the gloss. And then the other one that I think is useful is this generation copy down here. What this does is, like, if you have a copy of a copy of a copy, this does some math to kind of clean it up and make it look nicer. Sometimes it works really well. Other times it doesn't really do anything, but it's there. I don't really use either of these, but they exist, and you know, you can feel free to try them out. And then text is kind of nice. So I know that there's an option for light copies. I usually use text anyways, because what it does is the text on the page, it tries to make it look a little bit darker. So if you do have, you know, if you're copying something with really light text, this will kind of darken it up too. And that's usually my preferred way. And then here we'll get into the edit tab. And again, you probably don't need any of this for the most part. You just throw your papers in and you press start and you're good to go. But if you do need some of this stuff, I'll go through it. We're going to start with this because I've actually seen a couple of people use this. So this is really nice if you're copying books. Like we have a church that'll copy their hymnals. So you select what you want to erase, and then you select the amount that you want to erase out of like the center and the bottom and all that stuff. And I mean, that's pretty much it. The only issue with this is that it's reliant on you putting the book on the copy screen the exact same way every single time. So your mileage may vary. If it's something thin, like a magazine, or if there's already like really big margins, it makes it a little bit easier. But if it's like a big book, it's pretty difficult to fully get rid of that black line consistently. This is kind of nice just if you want to number your pages and you didn't do that in Word or whatever program you're using. So that's kind of cool. There's a couple other things in here that you can use, but for the most part, numbering is like the main thing. This basically just it just puts pattern on it. So it can be nice, but again, I've never seen anyone use it. You can manually set the margins if you want to not copy like the edges of the page. So that's kind of cool. You can set a color and just kind of make the whole page look different if you want. If you're doing like photos and you need like really, really good quality colors and that kind of thing, this color balance slider can be kind of nice. Probably gonna have to mess with this quite a bit to get the settings exactly how you want them, but the option is there if something's not quite looking right and it needs to be really good quality. You can get rid of individual colors. You also have this adjust color. And again, this would just be like if you're doing photos and you need the quality to be really, really nice or really, really accurate. You have these image quality adjustments, again, mostly for photos. This will just throw whatever you're copying into the middle of the paper. You can make a negative or you can flip it. So, and that should be good. Now I have all of these settings here that I've been messing around in, and it's all weird and whatnot, but if you just click on this reset button, it'll reset it to the default. And then if you wanted to change that program or get rid of that program, we can go to edit/delete program. Because this is that preset that we made earlier. We can click on it, click on delete. And now that little test program won't be cluttering up the home screen anymore. All right, that should be it.